Dope ass dude podcast. Transparent conversation. Real life stories. Hustling, grind, transparent conversation. Real life stories. Hustling, grind.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy, the dope ass dude, and I am so excited to be with you guys on tonight. And I am so excited about everything that is going to happen. And I'm really excited about my guest that's here with me on tonight. And she's a little nervous and everything, so I'll give you guys a hard time. I'll give you guys a heads up here, but she's a little nervous. But you guys know here at the dope ass dude, it's like, we make you feel comfortable. So you guys already know the preliminary things. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, if you don't mind going ahead subscribing to the YouTube channel, and while you're there, click on notifications so that you can be notified each and every time a new podcast is uploaded to the site. And then while you're there, go ahead and click on like so that this can be shared with others just like you. So click on like. And then if you're unable to catch the podcast on Mondays, you can always catch us on the go. We are on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. So again, that's Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. So you can always catch it there. And then we're always live every Monday. We're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. So again, that's Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. And just the preliminary things. If you are not following me on Instagram and TikTok, you can follow me on both of those platforms at the Dope Ass Dude Podcast. So on Instagram and TikTok, that's the Dope Ass Dude Podcast. And we'll get Dr. Davis's information out of the way. You can follow her on Facebook. You can follow Dr. Rachel at Rachel Sunshine Davis. So you can follow her there. She's always posting beautiful pictures with her smile. So it will definitely put some sunshine into your day. So you can follow her again at Rachel Sunshine Davis. So you guys know this season is all about the songs from the K. Renee project. I was blessed to be able to write that project. And so tonight's episode is based on the song, Your Future Looks Good on You. And the project, that song was inspired by Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, plans not to hurt you, but prosper you, for hope and the future. So that's where that song was inspired from. And so the funny thing is, I've known, and I'm going to call her Rachel. She calls me John. I'm going to call her Rachel. And she's shaking her head, giving me the okay to do it. And the funny thing about this, I've known Rachel for 25 years. I've known her for 25 years. I played over at this church here in Dallas, Texas, Mount Pisgah Baptist Church. And at that time, I was the youth musician. And that's when I got the opportunity to meet Rachel. But I realized here recently when we were chatting on Facebook a few weeks ago, and we was talking about the podcast. And, I was like, dang, I'm going to have to get you on one day. And she agreed to it. But in that process, I really realized like I knew Rachel, but I didn't know Rachel. And all I knew of her was she was always amazing to me. And I don't know if you guys have ever met someone that is just always kind. We work together there in Mount Pisgah, but she's also a part of the Dallas chapter of the Gospel Music Workshop. And we were there as well in Texas Mass. She was a part of that. And she always took extremely good care of me. And I think those are the type of people that you need in your life. But I realized I really didn't know Rachel. Like I didn't even know Rachel had kids, and I've known her for 25 years. And Rachel got 3 kids, grandchildren, great grandbabies, and everything. And I did not know this until because when she got ready to come on the podcast, I told her, I said, "Hey, I'm gonna have to reach out to you, and we're gonna have to catch up because I want to get to know you. I realize I don't know you." And she shared with me a little bit of her story. And when I tell you guys, it is going to be amazing on tonight. Rachel has such a extraordinary story, and I knew that Your Future Looks Good on You was the song that needed to go with this podcast on tonight. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring Rachel on out so she can talk about herself. She can do a better job than myself, and we're going to bring her on out. Rachel, what's going on?
Hey, John. Hey, everybody.
What is going on? I am so happy to have you here.
Oh, my goodness. I am just honored to be here, John. This right here is, when you say a podcast, I said, I'm nervous. I'll get in the church and get it to Mike and I'll be hollering all over the place. But when you say podcast, what? But anyway, thanks for having me, John. But yeah, one of the things that I mentioned that I like to set a role model for women. And I don't want no woman to hurt like I hurt. But a lot of that hurt I brought on myself for bad decisions, not putting God in front, not consulting with Him, not fasting and praying, and going through 3 marriages. It was just like Rachel was just whatever Rachel wanted. But then the song that you connected with this tonight made me look at a whole different thing. When you said that your future looks good on you. At the time of all my struggles and being getting pregnant at 15 and getting married and the life of a preacher's daughter, it was just everything. I didn't understand it then. But I said everything that I went through with my bad decisions, God let me know that He didn't break me to leave me. And so that's what I want to encourage to all women. Don't put God first, no matter how lonesome you get, whatever is going on. Just drown yourself with work. Just look, Pastor Green talks about me all the time. Like, go home and rest. But when I do that, I have time to listen to God when I settle down. But and to all the grandmothers, I wrote my second book, The Power of a Praying Grandmother, because my grandkids stayed in trouble. A few of them, not all of them. But it was almost like I wanted to inspire grandmothers because I wanted them to know to pray over your babies, pray over them, put scriptures over them, put them in your Bible, and that's what really pushed me to write my second book right before the pandemic. And I just wanted to just encourage the ladies. I want to be a mentor. And when I'm not here anymore, I want to be able to read that book and say, hey, Sunshine Davis, my Episcopal give me that name, John. So why did they call me Sunshine? I don't know. But sometimes that light goes out, a lot of times. But I just tries to just stay in the will of God. And I got a lot of failures. And I just want to encourage you. Whatever you're going through, it's not to break you, it's to help you.
I love that. I love that. So let's back up just a tad bit here, Rachel. Because first of all, like I said, I've known you for 25 years. I didn't even know you had 2 books out until Saturday when you and I was talking. I did not even know that. So, okay, so your first book, let's talk about that. Your first book, when did you write it?
I wrote it in it was 2018. I started working on it, but really didn't get it published until maybe 2018, 2019, right up in there. Because I just was sitting here in Texas, in Dallas, and I was just thinking one day, okay, what can you leave behind for your kids and grandkids? What would they know about you? And so I wanted them to know the struggles that I went through. Because, like I said, I really was pregnant 6 times, but 3 of them lived. And through all of that, with the marriages going in and out and what Rachel wanted, I just did not want nobody to hurt like I hurt John. I wanted everybody to just put God first. Don't make the mistakes I made because I was just doing stuff. I didn't want to be lonely. I just did not want to be by myself. So now it's been 12 years being a widow, and I'm just fine. God just holding me up. I drive myself in work, so I don't have to think about nothing. And the life of a preacher's daughter. I am the only girl. I got four brothers, three of them pastors, and my mom used to just she made me clean up behind them, and I just felt like I would just couldn't didn't have a scapegoat. I would just but now I understand why she was so tight on me, because I was just doing things just didn't make sense. And so now I just pray and ask God for wisdom, because back then I didn't have no sense, John. And I do not want nobody to hurt like I hurt. I don't want nobody following in my footsteps. And I was so happy when my daughter, when she was 15, I was so scared. Oh, she's gonna get pregnant like I did.
Mm,
My daughter exceeded that. She went to college and to a first year in college and went through that. But I just want to help somebody. I don't want them to just be going and settle for anything. Just trust God to make the difference, and He'll show you which way to go.
absolutely.
And you'll put your feelings in front, but again, you'll say, you done went off and left Lord. Oh, I done left God back there because I done did what Rachel wanted to do. No, it don't work like that. That is a heartbreak and a heart letdown.
Yeah, and I love how you said your hurt helped you, and because that was one of the things when you and I chatted a little bit earlier today. You mentioned about how the hurt helped you, and now you said you got pregnant when you were 15 years old,
Yes.
and you're proud of your age. You'll be 72 this year. You'll be
Yeah.
72 this
Just
year.
turned 72 on January 16th.
Yep.
72 right now. Yes.
And your son, your oldest child is 57. So that means you had him back in 69. And
Well, you
then
know what? He was born in 71. So
okay.
yeah, he was born in 71. Lost one. Then my daughter, she was born in 73. And the baby boy was 77. But it was like losing and miscarriages in between those. But I had a husband all those times that I got pregnant. I had a husband, but it was just still things that I was trying to do right. And I know I didn't do all, but I was in church, but I was trying to do the right thing and be faithful. And in the midst of that, and I think marrying those husbands, it just didn't. It was all what Rachel wanted. God never told. He never signed off on it. It was like, okay, I've been married to the first one 5 years, divorced. And I'm in the church now, still in the church. Married to deacon, married 4 years. Rachel, that was what you wanted. Valentine moved me here. So actually, 23 and a half years before my husband passed is when I moved to Texas. And
Yeah.
I knew then, okay. And then I used to be real embarrassed to tell people I've been married 4 times, for real.
Yeah. Yeah. And so let's back up, Rachel, because you keep getting ahead of me here. You keep getting ahead of me here. So okay. So you had your first son, he's 55, and back then you were really young. And back then, like to get pregnant at a young age, that came with could have come with some shame. And then it could have also come with the idea that your life is pretty much over. You're supposed to stay at
Yes.
home, be a mother. But here it is, 2026. You have your doctorate, we have written two books, and you're doing some extraordinary things. So that if your 15-year old person knew your 72-year old person, you probably wouldn't have stressed as much in between,
Absolutely.
because your future
Absolutely.
like really looks good on you. It looks really good on you. So and how do you think you sustained all of that time and kept pursuing and persevering? You didn't give up.
Yeah, and my oldest brother, Pastor O. Wendell Davis out of Huntsville, Alabama. He told me one day, he said, Rachel Ann, called me Rachel Ann. Rachel Ann, you go back to school. I said, go back to school for what? See, I was a rebellious one at home. I was, to me, I gave my parents a lot of trouble because they were so strict on me. And I went like, he said, go back to school. I said, for what? So I got laid off at IBM. That's what Sam Britt and I met right there at IBM. So after I got laid off there, then I pursued my doctorate, got my master's. Of course, my brother helped me with a lot of it. My bachelor's, my master's, and my doctor's, biblical studies. And I just stayed in I tried to just stay in the spiritual realm. Because I guess I was just really shame of my life
Mhm.
before then. I
Yeah.
was actually ashamed to sit down and talk about it. So that's when I put it on paper and went like, well, God done let me live to see this. So you got to help somebody else, Rachel. You can't keep all this to yourself. And the minute the book was published, I mean, people was coming to me, ladies was coming to me and said, hey, I saw a lot of me in that. I saw it. But John, I think I sustained myself and didn't give up because I wanted to stay close to God. I tried to stay close to God. Now, look, I know I give my kids I fuss and preach, and I know I get on their nerves, but I just could not give up. And then when my grandkids came, we got 19 of them, six great grands. Then I said, okay, it's time for me to set up presidents, set up so they would know what all their grandmom went through. And don't make the mistakes that I made. But I tried to keep my hand in God's hand. I mean, like today, tomorrow. I am so serious about my relationship and my salvation with God now. So now I just when I think about the hurt and I think about the bad times, I just want to know how I can lift up other women. And I love my work. I love work for Mount Pisgah. If I live to see that, August, that'll be 20 years right on staff. So I drown myself with work. I try to do things just to keep a positive attitude.
Yeah.
Just try, and that's why I said I can't give up. I can't give up now.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And the funny thing is, on last week's podcast, we talked about how the enemy will try to make you shame of your past and try to
Yes,
make you. And I think that is something that, a lot of people miss. And that's something that I wrote in the song. It says, not a new you, but a better you. Because many times we want to hide our past, we want to forget about the past, but the past is what made us. The past
absolutely.
is what taught us and brought us to this point where we are today. So I
Yeah.
think that instead of allowing the enemy to make you shame of your past, you should own it, because nothing I've learned in life, if we allow it, nothing that we've been through is for us in many cases. Of course,
That's
it's to
right.
teach us a lesson, but
Yes.
it's also for us to help someone else who is going through, who's wearing the shoes that we just took off. But so
Yes.
many times we are ashamed of our past because we made bad mistakes. We've done some things. And I always tell people it's a difference in telling your business and telling your story. It's nobody's business who did what, whatever. But if you share what you've been through and not who did this to you and who,
That's
who
it.
did that, that's your business. What
Yeah.
you've been through is your story. So allow your story to be the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that's where we miss it so many times. We are
Yes.
ashamed.
Yes, yes, yes. And and when I started writing that book, My Shelter from the Storms, The Life of a Preacher's Daughter, I, I, I immediately, the Lord released me, and you know what? The fear left. As I started to put on paper, I went back to them husbands and said, "Hey, do you mind if I put the story here?" And it was just a release. It was like it just made me feel so free. And right now we're friends. We're friends. I'm friends with their wives, their spouses. So we all are friends. But I knew once I put it on paper, I was really fearful about writing a book. I really was. I got some backslash on it, but I knew if I asked God for guidance, then I would be doing the right thing.
Yeah. So what type of backlash did you get?
It was almost like, why would you put your business out there that you've been beat with a baseball bat? Why would you put your business? And you know what? I I'm telling the truth. I'm just telling the truth. Why did my daughter now at 6 weeks old had to drink sweet water because her daddy wouldn't get no milk, wouldn't buy milk. So these kind of things I had to encounter and being hurt by, but then it made me strong, John. It made me strong. And I thank the Lord today that I lived 72 years to see my babies in their 50s. And it just goes back to show you how God will orchestrate and ordain everything that He created.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that a lot of us miss is that we think on the way to our future version of us, we aren't supposed to go through anything. And I love the whole scripture, Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans is not to hurt you, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to go through hurt to get to the prosper. It just means he's not going to leave you at the hurt stage. He's
Absolutely.
not going to just hurt you and leave you there, and that's going to be your story. No, there's a other side of that hurt if you just allow yourself to make it through. And yeah,
And my mom, she's been gone 4 years now. I preached my first sermon October of 21. She passed December of 21. But she was able to see my books and she was able to see me preach. And at that point, I just got peace. Like, okay, Rachel, you did. I followed God's guidance and He opened that door for me. And I'm just grateful. I just want to help other women. I just want to help them because life is just like a revolving door. And if we keep on living, we're gonna be going through some things, but we will learn from them, and it will build tough skin and character in us as we go through those. And but the key thing, John, is I tried, like you say, you knew me, but you didn't know me, but you saw how I treated you. So I do everybody like that. So it's like I just want to put a smile on your face. I want to serve, and I want to be loyal and truthful and trustworthy. And I,
yeah.
I think that's why God just He continuously open doors for me, and it just blows my mind. It really does.
Yeah. And I hate that someone tried to shame you or give backlash about you telling your story and sharing that story. It's just, I think a lot of times people, like I said, people don't own their past. And they're always looking over their shoulder waiting for someone to expose them. They're afraid someone's gonna, but when you own your stuff, you own your past. No one can shame you for what you did because you learned that, hey, I'm not ashamed of this here. I'm not afraid if it be exposed. Again, you're just not telling your business. But if the moment comes that you need to share your story, you're willing to share your story freely. But
Yeah.
people don't get that. And those are the people that are in bondage to someone else. They're slaves to someone else because they're afraid that that person is going to expose them.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, so let's talk a little bit more. So, Rachel, you said, and you just said this here, and you said this on the phone the other day, and I tried to put myself in those shoes where you said you got beat with a bat. I probably got that bat and been upside the head. Like, now what you ain't about to do is hit me with a bat. So,
Yeah.
like, you actually went through that?
Yes, I did. I did. All I can do is. But at that point, I think all I can do, I just went like, Lord, help me. And when I said that, He backed up. I said, Lord, help me. And I guess that's why I love to wear crosses now. I just love crosses, period. Because I laid there and I took that. I did. Yeah. But He apologized. So I'm good.
Yeah.
He told me He was sorry.
Yeah. And Rachel, a lot of people out there, they're saying, oh my God, I would never let somebody else hit me with a bat. But their bat is represented in another way. They're dating
Yeah.
a spouse that's cheating on them. That cheating is the bat.
Yeah.
Those lies is the bat. The verbal abuse is the bat. we can always say what we wouldn't do until we are in it. And the bad may not be something physical that you're getting hit with. Like I said, it could be cheating, it could be lying, it could be many things that you are in a relationship and they are hitting you with a bat every day.
Yes,
It's just
that's
not a
right.
physical bat. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Wow.
how do you stay so positive?
Well, every morning, all day long, all night, I'm asking God to guide me, help me. And so I try to stay positive because I will get a low moment. Since mama been gone these 4 years, I will get low and I'll shut up in my room. But in that same sense, God is talking to me and he's telling me, you got work to do. You got work to do. You got a pastor that needs you. You got a church that needs you. And I just tried to stay positive, even when I'm feeling bad, even when I don't feel well. The last couple months, I was been sick with my arm. I didn't really tell nobody how sick I was. My daughter knew, but I just tried to stay positive. I just tried to, oh, God gonna help me through it. He's gonna do it. He's gonna help me through it. I'm gonna be able to walk. I'm gonna be able to walk. He's gonna help me through it. And I'll share this story here too. Um, this dark transit, I put in an application, how they'll come pick you up, because I know I can't see how to drive really at night. And the application was denied. You know why, John? Because they said they timed me. They put me on two dark buses. I got an interviewer right here with me. And they said they timed me. And I jumped both of those buses in less than 13 minutes. Denied. And then John, I wanted to get mad. And I said, Lord, I said, why am I getting sad? Rachel, you ain't there yet. That's for the people on walkers and canes. Call your Uber. But even with a situation like that, I got the letter of denial on my birthday. I said, okay, Lord, I'm sorry. Please forgive me for thinking that way. I ain't got there yet. And they said they timed me, and I jumped two dark trails in less than 13 minutes. So it's like I was keeping up with the interview. Me and her was just talking and cacking. We was talking about church.
She was setting you up, Rachel. She was setting you up. You should have walked real slow, slowed her down. Like, I'm gonna see how fast she can go.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So I just tried to stay positive with things like that, John. And I really, I am grateful to God that He let me live to see six grands. It's like, come on. And my classmates, most of them at home, everybody gone home to be with the Lord. But He still got me standing. So I have to stay positive. I have to.
And it's funny that you said, because those are lyrics of the song, because it's God talking to you in that song. Your future looks good on you. And the lyrics started, I said, I have more for you to do, more for you to see, more than you could imagine, more than you even believe you deserve. So God is pretty much saying, hey, I have more for you. You can't even comprehend everything that I have for you. And I think that's something that a lot of us, we in the world today. And I love how you told me on Saturday, because I say this all the time. Right now, I'm building legacy. And I just told someone this tonight. The reason I do the podcast is because after life expires for me here on earth, I want my family to be able to still feel my presence,
Absolutely.
to come
Yeah,
and hear
yeah,
my voice and
yeah, yeah.
recognize, hey, this is
Woo.
he left his fingerprint on earth. So
Yeah.
I think that is so important to build legacy. So when I heard you talk about your book and you want your grandkids, after you're gone, they can sit down and read your words, which will make them hear your voice. And
Yes.
everything you will
Yes.
live forever. I tell people all the time, I'm trying to live forever. I'm never gonna die, 'cause even after I'm gone, I'm still living through
Cause
what
yeah,
I've done. Yeah.
leaving that legacy behind.
Yeah. So
Woo.
that's part of your writing the book. That was one of the things that motivated you to write the book.
Yes, yes. I was trying to leave it for them. Yep.
Wow.
And I had, out of my 19 grads, I had two that kept me on my knees. And it was like, okay, Lord, I want them to see. I had a prayer room, and I will always take them and tell them about this prayer room, because I wanted them to know you can tell God about anything when you can't tell nobody else.
Mhm.
So that I wanted to instill that in them, that prayer is important. Doing the right thing is important. They don't always listen, and I didn't either when I was that age. But I'm just saying, I want them to know that Jesus is your righteous right hand. Jesus. That's what I'm trying to instill in mind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think you're doing a great job at that, Rachel. I don't think you even need to doubt whether or not you are making that impact. I think that you are definitely doing it because, like I said, for we've known each other for 25 years, and we've been in the same cities outside of Dallas. We've traveled to different locations, and we've actually sat down and talked. We've ate breakfast because we used to go to
Yes,
breakfast at Memphis.
yes,
We ate
yeah,
breakfast. We didn't eat lunch, and I think that's kind of a testament to us as well too. Is that when we're together, there could be so many questions that we could ask, probably to get to know each other, but we're present in that moment and enjoying great conversation that probably, well, it looks like had nothing to do with us as individuals, but we were
right.
enjoying the conversation because you've always been kind to me. That's
Yes,
what I will always remember. I just always remember you being nice to me.
yes,
So
yes.
yeah. So are you still a part of Dallas chapter?
Yes, it went to rehearsal last Saturday. Yeah, Dallas chapter it inspires me. It does. And now I done jumped in Clark's group with the Unity, so I plan to travel with him this year, next year to Italy. So it's been great. It's been great for me. Because I can go, I can venture out because I work at the church of Mount Pisgah, right? I work and I serve. But just for me to have fun, I just try to grab other friends, Dallas chapter, the Unity Choir, Clark Joseph. They have blessed me and gave me strength when I didn't have none.
Yeah. So, okay, so Rachel, I have a question because this just came to me. So, you wrote your book in 2018, right? So
Uh-huh.
that means you were 64 when you released the book or you wrote the book.
Yep.
So, at 64, what made you think you could write a book?
Well, I lost everything, John, because when my husband passed in 2007, lost the home, the car, everything. Everything went downhill when Charity died. So I had to do something. And I said, Lord, I am in my 60s now. Give me a new beginning. And that's when things hit, John. I started losing stuff. When I asked him, I remember laying under the Christmas tree. Sonia Ramsey she had this beautiful Christmas tree, and it was just beautiful. And I laid on the floor that night, and I said, Lord, this was December, and I said, Lord, give me a new beginning. That next year, everything started going wrong. Everything. But I was still holding on. I wouldn't let my bosses at the church know I was going through nothing. I was still holding on. And so that inspired me to really write that book. And then right before the pandemic, I was able to do The Power of a Praying Grandmother right after then. And I went like, okay, Lord, I need you to help me now. I really do have some news to leave, a legacy I want to leave.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say the new beginning, and you said you started losing everything because I've shared this story here on the podcast before. This was for me almost 4 years ago now, and I just was getting ready to turn 50, and the same thing. I started losing everything. I just started losing everything, and seeing people. I had got laid off that year at my job, and it just seemed like everything that could go wrong was going wrong, and it seemed like everything. I was just like you said, I was losing everything. Now I didn't lose my house, thank God, but it just seemed like everything else was falling apart. And I never forget, I was on a call with my therapist and I was crying like a baby. You would have thought somebody died. That's how hard I was crying. And I was like, oh, I'm just losing everything. I'm losing this. I'm losing this. I'm losing this. And Rachel, no lie, just as clear as I hear your voice, it was like God just spoke to me and he was like, you're not losing anything. I am creating space for new things.
New.
New things. And that's what a lot of times when we have those moments and we are losing things, we think that the world, it just seems like the world is over. But many times that is God just taking all that stuff you, like you
Yes.
said, you've been holding on to
Yes.
forever, and he's getting rid of it for the new things, for this new chapter, this new beginning of your life
Yes.
to come in. And once, if we could see that it's not that we're losing stuff, but it's God creating space for everything, for our future version of ourselves, it changes the whole way we move forward.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
how we have to do it. It's like, because God, like I told you, he was like, you're not losing anything. I am creating space for
Yeah.
new things, new people, new adventures. And once I start looking at my life that way, as an empty room or a blank canvas, I always tell people your life is a blank canvas. You can paint whatever you want to paint on that blank canvas.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
you. But once I start looking at my life, that when I tell you, it's almost like the windows of heaven just opened up and just like start pouring down on
Woo!
me. That's how good God has been to me these past
Absolutely.
4 years. So yeah, it's like God, he has a funny way of teaching us lessons, but
I'm telling you.
yeah,
And it's like, but like, Lord, I'm trying to do everything. I'm trying to do everything. They taking my tithes out my check. I'm just trying to bargain with God, right? Lord, I'm doing everything. I'm trying to treat people right, the way I would want to be treated, and I'm paying my tithes. Why am I going through this?
yeah,
And Holy Spirit said, why not? You've been picked out to be picked on. You are my chosen. So I just thought, just kind of gleaming from that, and being grateful, because I'm thinking like, Lord, I asked you for a new beginning, but I didn't know it was finna hit like this. And like, oh my goodness. And I called my oldest brother. I called my mom. I said, oh my God, it was cold out there and I'm losing everything. But even with that, John, God still gave me peace though. I didn't really just cry. I didn't. I was continuing to serve. I was still singing in the choir. I was still praising God. I was still doing everything at the church, and nobody knew I was going through it. I couldn't. I just couldn't. I was too ashamed yet again. But everybody went like, it's something different about Rachel, and that was one of my worst days. We was getting. Remember when my Pisca made when they made we had our tape, our first project,
yeah, I
Linda
remember
Mitchell.
that.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. And then we traveled to Atlanta. Remember? That's when I started losing everything. They called me. Yeah. It was just something. But God gave me peace though behind all of that. He did. He gave me peace.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
still have peace. And that's why I'm strong enough now to talk about it. I don't know if I could have talked about it 10 years ago. I don't know. But I'm strong enough to talk about it because I know God never left me. He helped me, He carried me through all of that. And that's what I tell people all the time. Look, this is just the beginning of your new life in Christ. You're going to make it through that. You're gonna make it through that. God gonna put somebody in your life to help you. Somebody gonna send you a check. You can be at church when you don't feel like going to church. Somebody gonna put a $20 in your hand. You might not have no gas getting there, but you're gonna make it. Because that's what happened to me. Yeah.
yeah,
And I just try to stay positive, love on the season saints and on down to the babies. You hear me talk all the time, my church baby. I done for 42 years, I done adopted everybody baby, calling me Aunt Rachel. But I just it makes me feel good to put a smile on somebody's face, John.
yeah. Yeah, and but that's what it's about though. It is about like being, somebody smile. One day I was at the gym and I'm always smiling or whatever. And it was this lady. I was just sitting down on the leg bench, and this lady walked past me and she says, "Wow, you have such an amazing smile." And I was like, oh, wow, thank you. And the lady turned around, she finished because she had started walking off, and then she walked back and she was like, thank you for that gift. And it was like, you never know who your smile is going to help,
Yes. Yeah.
your energy is going to help. That's why it's always just good to, I don't know, I smile all the time, good, bad, ugly. I'm always smiling. So,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
because you don't know who you might encourage. I can be walking through
exactly.
the airport, or I can be walking, in the grocery store, go and get something to eat, and I see somebody looking down and walking. And I say, "Hello, hi," you know, get in the elevator, hi. It's just because you don't know what kind of day people be having. So I think God put us out there to go make disciples and smile while we're doing it.
Exactly. So we had a comment here. So this came from Byron. He says, we call you Sunshine because you offer the light of encouragement to all whom you come in contact with, a bubbly personality and always on the go. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, Byron, thank you.
And Yolanda Hargrove said, John, I love it, but Yolanda, that doesn't give you permission to call me that. So let's try that.
That's my church baby, John.
Yeah, I know that maybe your baby, but she know not to call me John. That's for Rachel only. So okay, so we have a lot of comments out here. Dang, they really been talking. Yolanda came back and said, "Say it, their bat is in another way." Okay, she was saying exactly bats. You were here with the physical bad, but in relationships, it may not be a physical bad, but it could be an emotional bad that they're hitting you with. So yeah,
Yes.
we all going through something in life. So okay, so Rachel, so you got 2 books. You wrote that at 64. When did you release your second book?
It was right before the pandemic. Well, it was 2019, December 2019, but it wasn't published till around Mother's Day of that next year. Before the COVID came out, I went on a cruise with our first lady, went with another girl, and the Lord blessed me with that. Didn't have to pay nothing. Went on the cruise, come back sick. Had to get on the boat in New Orleans, and my parents live in Gulfport. They're 60 miles away. So when I got off the boat, had already planned to spend Christmas with them, and I told them, I said, "Mom," I said, "I'm thinking about writing a second book." And she said, "You are?" And I went like, "Yeah." I said, "This time I want to talk to the grandmothers and put scriptures out there and tell them how, how the Lord will bless their babies through your prayers." And so she said, "Okay." So right when I got back home, came back to Dallas, I was sick. I called pastor and I said, "I can't make it to work. I can't get up. My daughter got to bring food to my bed." I never forget. So I went to the doctor 3 times that week. They said, you got some kind of virus. We don't know what you got, but you got some kind of virus. So them 2 weeks that I laid in the bed, now it was COVID, but they weren't saying it was COVID. So they was putting me on all kind of antibiotics, all kind of Z-Packs, all of this stuff. So I said, I'm gonna write that second book. And John, that's how I got a chance to write that second book, because my granddaughter was like, they wouldn't come in my room because they didn't want to catch whatever I had. They would put my food through the crack of the door. And so I just started writing that book. And John, it took me about 2 weeks while I was flat on my bed. And I got in touch with my writer, the girl that wrote the first one for me. And I said right then, look, I got to tell this, but I got to pray for my grandkids now. I got to forget about me and then help other grandmothers and teach them and show them how to pray for your children and your children's children. So that's how, but it was right at 2019, but it wasn't published until 2020.
Oh wow. 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 So okay. So you had COVID, yeah, because that was a pretty scary time, and it's probably was even more scarier that they couldn't identify what was going on with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what inspired. That's when you released the book.
Yeah. And
Okay.
you remember when that ship was in a wreck I was on that ship. So it's like it's too much going on. So I, I had to help somebody because my daughter had just called and give me some bad news about one of my grandsons. So that's what made me write the book, Scriptures and Prayers. While I'm on the water, she calls me, say, hey, telling bad news. And so I went like, okay, grandmamas, we in this thing together. Come on. And that it was 2019, December 2019.
Oh wow! And you released it in 2020, right?
Right,
So you were 66 at that time. So and I'm calling out your age
right.
because I think people need to hear that regardless of how old you are, you can still bring your dreams into reality.
Yes.
Age doesn't stop that. And I think that's where a lot of us have, we've gotten older, and now that we're older, we feel like our life is over with. I'm just like, mine is just beginning. Shoot, that's how I feel. Mine is just beginning.
Something else came to me as you were saying that. My pastor told me one day, well, last week, I believe, maybe a week before, and he said, "Oh, one of his friends said, don't you be working Miss Rachel like that." He said, "I can't keep up with her. She do she going faster than I am."
Wow. So
Right.
we got to come in here. So it's from Jasmine. She said, laughing out loud, that's my Aunt Rachel and my kids Aunt Rachel and my husband Aunt Rachel. And we aren't from Dallas, and God uses sunshine for sure. Yeah, I agree with that. That's awesome. And then we got another comment. Aunt Rachel been through it. Yolanda said Aunt Rachel been through it. And Lemuel, what's going on, Lemuel? He's a Dallas musician. He says that's a ministry within your smile. I agree with you on that. So okay,
Okay.
so Rachel, what's next for you? You can check off podcasts, because Rachel, it was funny when you and I talked on Saturday. You was like, I've always wanted to be on one. I didn't think God was gonna bless me with one, but now you're in on the podcast. You can check that off. So what is next for you?
Well, I do have a preaching engagement for Good Friday. I'm gonna be preaching on that third word. So it's almost like I'm just waiting on God. I'm not in a hurry. I'm just waiting on him to open the door, and I'm gonna walk right on in and sit on the couch.
Mm.
So it's like, but the third book is coming, and I've talked about my life. I've talked about my grandchildren. So now I'm gonna talk about it's gonna come out, John. It's gonna come out, but it's gonna help us women get to our next step.
Okay, so let me ask you this here, Rachel. So, and I know I mean, we already 47 minutes into this. So quick question for you. So you're a minister, but when I first met you in Mount Pisgah, you weren't called into the ministry yet, right?
Mm-mm.
So when did you accept your calling?
I was running. I was running like I'm too old. And the Lord said, if you don't go and preach and stand behind this sacred desk, then you're gonna sink. I woke up like 3 o'clock in the morning and I couldn't see nothing but water. And I was sinking. And he said, until you do what I asked you to do, he said, you gonna sink. And I went like, Lord, I don't want to sink. I don't want to sink, because a lot of times, pastors don't really, they not going to women in the preaching mode. So that's
Absolutely.
another thing, right? So I went to my pastor, and right in the pandemic, he gave me my counseling. He did all of that. And that's when he said, okay, I feel that you're ready, and I'll take you to the church.
Wow. So, okay, so did you get any backlash on that? Because, like you said, pastors don't normally gravitate to women preachers. And then, church member, there are some people, both men and women, that say they don't believe in women preachers, nor
Mhm,
will they serve up under a woman preacher. So,
mhm.
how do you deal with that?
Okay, let me tell you what I do. With the congregation care pastor, we've been going to the funerals faithfully together within the last 10 years at least. And he always taught me like, okay, if you're not on program, you sit at the back. And I looked up at him one day and I said, Pastor Gabriel, can I just go and meet the pastor and just tell him, let him know that I respect the angel of the house. I respect him. If he want me to sit, I'm on program. I only do the scripture and prayer, but I'll sit in the audience. And I think a lot of pastors just told me, I know three of them, I'm saying a lot. Three of them have told me, I appreciate you so much, because a lot of women won't ask my permission. They just go in my pulpit. But I'm not like that. I'm gonna, when that time before, I'm gonna ask somebody, where's Pastor so and so? Where's Pastor so and so? If I'm not with my pastor. Now, if I'm with my pastor, then he'll go and pave the way. But I'm gonna go find that senior pastor of that house and ask for his permission. And I don't have a problem sitting in the congregation till it's time for me to do that scripture prayer. And I think that's where I make it through it. But nobody have given me anything to nothing to hurt my feeling on it, offend me about women preachers. I always, I don't really try to push myself on everybody, but I just let God go ahead of me and do it. I don't,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you never ever experienced that, because I played at one church once before, and the senior pastor of that church, and I was like, I got to get out of here. But that one day, I never forget it. He stood up in front of the church, and he was talking about women preachers. He didn't agree with it. Women couldn't come in the pulpit. They stood on the floor if it was one Women's Day or whatever. And I never forget. He said, yeah, and some of y'all, I know you have aunties and mothers that are preachers, and he says, but God doesn't call women to preach. And he said, they going to hell. I got in my car. I cried because my sister is a preacher. And I was like, God, I know you ain't sending my sister to hell because she
Right,
loves
right,
you.
right.
And I didn't last at that church probably 6 months after that. I was like,
I
yeah.
gotta
So
go.
I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. Yeah. So that is interesting. It's a blessing that you haven't received any negative feedback or treatment from that, because there are some people that still doubt
Yes,
women
yes,
preaching.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Rachel, as we close on tonight, what is your word that you want to leave everybody with on tonight? What do you want to say to everybody before we go?
I want to tell everybody, thank you for all your comments. Thank you for your love. You do it on and off the air. I thank you and appreciate you. But I want to leave this. Your future looks good on you. Don't ever forget that.
And she's a typical preacher. She done stole my topic and used it for herself. Your future look good on you, Rachel. If I find
But
out you
yeah,
preach that somewhere, I need my royalty checks.
okay. And no matter how broken you may feel, you gonna make it through that darkest hour. That sun gonna shine at the end of that tunnel now. It's gonna shine. But you got to be willing to take the bruises and keep pushing and trusting God.
Yeah. Also, Rachel, we have a question for you. Someone was asking, where can they purchase your book?
Okay, it's lulu.com. So once you go to Lulu, like LULU.com, you'll go there and then you just put my name in, Dr. Rachel Davis, and you'll be able to see it there. Both books right there together.
That's lulu.com.
Yes.
So lulu.com, and look for Dr. Rachel Davis, and you'll be able to find both of her books. And Rachel, but they're going to be selling your books at at the church sometime this month, right?
Yeah, our bookstore servant leader told me they're gonna be selling them, I think third and fourth Sunday. If not the third, it'll be the fourth Sunday. Fourth Sunday, in honor of Black History Month. Yes.
Okay. And what I'll do is I'm gonna get some books, because Rachel and I have already talked about this here. And the last Monday of the month, I'll give away 4 books or
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
So just tune back in that night. We'll be giving away some of Dr. Davis Davis's books. And I mean, Rachel, when I saw your book and it had doctor on there, I was like, doctor, where
Where
did
did
she
she
get
get
her
that? Where'd she
doctorate?
get that from?
Yeah, where did
Yeah.
she get that from?
I went,
'Cause
I went through that Slidell Baptist Seminary and he took me through something for 2 years. But I was, it was so exciting. And he said, I said, did I make it to the doctor? He told me, yeah. He said, because you You graduated with honors.
Oh,
So,
wow.
but
Wow.
John, I just thank the Lord for everything. I do, and sure do thank the Lord for connecting me with John for life.
Yeah, that and I mean for life. And it's funny, I think our relationship is beginning now because, like I
Yes,
said, sometimes there's a season and a time for everything, and everything tends to manifest and when it's supposed to, and
yes,
everything seems to make sense because, like I said, I have learned so much about you in this past week that I didn't know the entire 25 years that I've known
yes,
you. So
yes,
that is just like amazing to me. And I just tell everybody, we have Pastor Walker. He was on the guest from last week. He said, "Good
yes.
to see you, Minister Rachel
Good to
Davis."
see you, Pastor Walker. Tell your wife I say hi.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, tell your wife we said hello, Pastor. And Melissa George said facts, never too late to begin living. And Melissa is
Yeah.
getting ready. She's actually going to nursing school now. She's getting ready to start her nursing school venture. And it's like something that she's wanted to do forever. And she's doing it now. She's stepping out on faith. And we look forward to hearing so many more stories from her. And then we have this here. I cannot wait for the third book. The first two are amazing. Love you, sunshine.
All
And
right. I love you too.
yep. And then Lemuel said, in the last days, God will pour out his spirit. I don't believe in women preachers or men preachers. I believe in the word of God. God can make
Woo!
a bush burn and not be consumed. Who am I to say what God has called if it is the word of God? I don't what is that? Who I don't care who it comes from. Okay, cool. And let's see who else we got. Rachel
Thank
here.
you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And let me go to that church where I heard that pastor say that too.
And so you got in your car and you cried.
Yeah, I cried and I left about 6 months later. I'm not dealing with this foolishness. So yeah, so we're not dealing with that. But okay, so guys, listen up. So we will be back next Monday. Lyric is a rapper. She is my guest next week. The song will be announced throughout the week what the song is. But until then, go out, check out K Renee. Go out and check out the K Renee audition tape. That is where this whole season is coming from. God blessed me to write that entire project, and it's some pretty dope stuff. I got to admit, it's pretty dope music on there, and everything is telling the story. So check that out. K-Renee RENE. And the CD album is titled Audition Tape. So next week it'll be another song off of there. And it's a song on there called Quickie. I know I'm really excited to talk about that episode. But yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Rachel must don't know what a quickie. Rachel, you know what a quickie is because you said all right.
I said, I'm gonna call you after the broadcast. I got a prayer call to get on, but I'm gonna call you and say, John, what is that?
You're gonna be like, oh my God. Okay, so guys, this is it. This has been amazing. Dr. Davis, thank you so much for coming on here. I know you got your prayer call to go on, but thank you for coming on here. I'm gonna get your books. I'll sell you money and I'll get the books. And guys, we will be back on we'll be back 2 weeks from now to give out the books. So make sure you tune in and we'll have those books to give out. And I see we have Marion Jacobsberg. She is playwright here in Dallas. Marion, thank you for coming out. My sister was in here tonight. My minister of music at my church, he was in here tonight. So a lot of great people. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Awesome. I am extremely appreciative. Oh, and one last thing. OC Odell Kavar, he is a faithful watcher here. His birthday was last Monday, but he wasn't on here because it was his birthday. Happy birthday, Odell. Thank you for staying here with us, man. I appreciate you. All right, then, guys, we will see you next Monday. Peace.
Bye, y'all. Bye.
Yeah. Real life stories and transparent conversations, hustle and grind, love and relationships with all the tools. living your best life.